Hi everyone, welcome to Beyond the Evidence. This is the channel where justice matters. My name is Marv. I am a true crime fanatic, and I love to dig deeper into the mysteries of unsolved cases. Join me as we search for missing persons, uncover the clues in unsolved murders, follow along with jury trials, and we'll be a voice for the voiceless. I'll share with you the facts, the theories, the clues, the evidence, and the controversies that surround these cases. This is Beyond the Evidence. Hello. How's everybody doing today? It is day one of the Delphi murder hearings for the case against Richard Allen. What does that really mean for us? Well, today's the day that the Judge Gull, is finally going to hear motions. In my opinion, it should have happened a long time ago. But we're here. We've got 3 days of hearings, and they're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. The motions that the defense has filed, they are going to give their information to the judge as to why their motion should be granted. The prosecution is going to give their side as to why the motion should not be granted. And what it's really going to do is it's going to tell us the rules of the trial. What is allowed in, what is not allowed. So, with that being said, this is huge. The next 3 days. Let's see who all we got saying hi so far. Melissa, nice to see you. Julian, nice to see you. Jackie, how are you? Just Deb, hello there. I wish I was a fly on the wall. Oh, so do I. And I am very upset that this judge will not televise these hearings and the trial. It just irks me. It really does. Hi, Silas. How are you? So, with that being said, I'm waiting for updates to come in. Everybody's in the courtroom right now, hearing what is going on. There are many motions and hearings that they're going to have today. A lot of issues that they're going to try to sort out in the next 3 days. Hi, Mar. How are you? So I found the 9 motions that they are going to discuss in the next 3 days, and I have key issues, details, and importance of each one. So I thought we would go through those just as a refresher and go from there, wait for any updates that are coming in. With the late start today, we're assuming lunch is going to be at about 1:30, and that's when most of our updates are going to come out. We have several people at the courthouse inside the hearing, listening, taking notes. And then what I plan to do is there should be transcripts of these hearings. And I'm going to request them. And if I have to pay for them, I'm going to pay for them so that we can know for sure what was said. Hi, D. Berlin. How you doing? So good, everyone's so glad everyone's here. Just quick update. I did go to the doctor today. I am getting put on additional medication for my high blood sugar, and hopefully in the next day or so, those numbers will start coming down and I'll start feeling better. But I'm going to power through today, do what I can. And tomorrow I'll be on here too. So first of all, does anybody have any questions about what really is going on today? Have you all watched enough trials to know what pretrial motions are? And I'm just looking here. Yeah, Silas, I'm happy about that. Hi, Marcia, how are you? Not feeling better yet, but in the next couple days I will be. So I know more and more people are coming in. So that's why I'm kind of talking to everybody right now, and we'll go through the motions here in a little bit. Can you briefly summarize? I kind of know. Okay. I think Brian and I. Yeah. Each state does things differently, that's for sure. So, let me do one thing here before I start. I'm going to take my Discord off of the computer so it's not beeping all of the time. Okay, so what we know for right now is that there's not a lot of media is what I'm being told. Not a lot of media there. No, Barbara McDonald, things like that. Ausbrook just showed up. Hannah Shakespeare is there. So, lots of people. Not necessarily Melissa. She's saying innocent till proven guilty, not have shackles. I've seen other defendants in shackles brought into court, just like Richard Allen, before a verdict is reached. Okay, Just Deb says, I know there's media from Fort Wayne there. That's good. Yep, there's several people there. Frank Meister is there. He said that when he comes out for lunch to do his breakdown, I can show that on here, so that's good. So, okay. The reason that we're having the hearings today is because before a trial ever happens, there's always things that the judge has to issue a ruling on. Okay? Motion of limine is one of them. Motion of limine, or however Deb pronounced it, is usually a big one. And then you have all these other motions that have been going on and have been out there for a long time. So, state's motion for admissibility. Key issue. This motion concerns the admissibility of statements made by the defendant, Richard Allen, to a psychologist at the Indiana Department of Corrections, where he is currently held for safekeeping. Okay. So what the hearing is for is the judge is going to listen to both sides on each motion. And there's 9 of them. Okay. They're going to duke it out, basically. And then the judge is going to make a decision on that motion. It's granted or it's denied. Okay. So this is setting up the rules for the trial by listening and having Judge Gall decide what is allowed in, what's not. Okay. So with the state's motion for admissibility, the prosecution argues that these statements fall under an exception to confidentiality, allowing them to be introduced in court as evidence as they relate directly to the homicide charges. The potential admission of these statements could offer crucial insights into the defendant's mental status, motivation, and potential involvements in the murders. Hey, Bossy, how are you? So this is big. This is about Richard Allen's confessions. Now in here it says it's just regarding one confession. I don't know if that's the case or not, or if it's multiple confessions. But as they get to this hearing, those individuals in the courtroom, they will tell us what the arguments were and what the judge's decision is. So yes, once again, it says that this is a statement or confession made by the defendant, Richard Allen, to a psychologist at the Indiana Department of Corrections, where he's currently being held. So it's going to depend on what the context of that statement was. Was he in duress when he made it? Was he being threatened? Why did he make these statements? Was it of his own free will? If it was of his own free will and there was no coercion or intimidation or anything like that, I am guessing that Judge Gull is going to grant this for the prosecution and allow this in as evidence. I've seen it before in other trials. But it all depends on the context of what was said, how it was said, where it was said. Jackie, these are just hearings. These are hearings on specific matters that Judge Gull needs to make a decision on. It's basically the rules of the trial. What is allowed in, what is not allowed in. You feel he might have been coerced? Well, that's why it's important to hear what he said and the context of it. Now, are we going to get the full thing? I don't know. It could be just a summary. I don't know. So we'll see. But that's not the only one. But it is a big one. Because we all know that there are certain statements that Richard Allen has made to different individuals that the defense does not want that information to come in. And why is that? More than likely, it's very damning to their case. So then we have the defense's motion to suppress the second statement. They want the whole second statement that Richard Allen made to the police thrown out. The motion aims to suppress statements made by Richard Allen during a second interrogation conducted by Indiana State Police Trooper Jerry Holman on October 26, 2022. The defense claims that Holman violated Allen's Miranda rights during the interrogation as he didn't read him his Miranda warning and made false statements about the evidence against him. Additionally, the beginning portion of the interrogation video provided to the defense is missing, adding to the suspicion surrounding the interrogation. What is the importance of this? If the court grants this motion, Allen's statement from the second interrogation would be excluded as evidence. Basically, this weakens the prosecution's case because anything he said in that second interrogation, the prosecution would not be able to bring up. Now, what is in that second statement that the defense does not want us or the jury to know? That is the key question. There is something very damning in that second statement that they do not want the jury to hear. Why is that? What is it? Well, we're hoping that in the next 3 days, we're going to get some more information on it. They have to discuss the particulars in order to either have their motion granted or denied. And that's part of the reason why, after these 3 days are over, I am going to ask for the transcripts because I want to see it word for word what happened. And when I get those, I will share them with you. So there is actually 3 motions to suppress. You had the first one from the psychologist at the Indiana Department of Corrections. The second one is for the second interrogation. They want that whole thing thrown out. Okay, state's motion for admissibility, defense motion to suppress second statement. Actually, this is the state's objection to the defendant's motion to suppress. So, key issue, the response by the prosecution counters the defense's motion to suppress the second statement. Now remember, the defense is stating that Richard Allen was never read his Miranda rights and he was lied to about the evidence by Jerry Holman. Details. The state asserts that the interview was non-custodial, as Allen arrived voluntarily and was informed that he was free to leave. The prosecution emphasizes that the interrogation wasn't coerced, highlighting Allen's calm demeanor and continued participation, despite occasional accusatory remarks by Holman. Now, we all know that the police can lie to you. They don't have to tell you the absolute truth. It's one of their techniques they use to try to get somebody to confess to a crime or give details that only the person who committed the crime would know. Is it right? Is it wrong? Well, it's been happening for hundreds of years. So what is your thoughts on that? Do you think the police should be able to lie to an individual when they're talking with them in order to get a confession or in order to get that individual to tell information they know that maybe only the person that committed the crime would know. D. Berlin says, I really hope they allow the second interview to be presented as evidence. Steve and Ruckus have explained interrogations and interviews and when Miranda rights have to be read. Yes, they have. Let's see. Mar says yes. I'm not sure what yes was too, but yes, me too, Mar, as body and facial language is key to me. Oh, for video? Yes. I agree with you. Yes, especially when it comes to a murder trial. No, but if they didn't, many wouldn't confess to what they know, but it all has to be backed up by evidence. I agree. Body language says it all. Just look at Sean Evans at press conference. Yeah, that's old news, Melissa. Let's see here. All right. Let's get into the next one. This should be a fiery one. This one, I would love to be there to listen to. Defendant's motion to compel and motion for sanctions. Key issue. The defense requests the court to compel the state to produce specific evidence they claim has been withheld, including data extracted from victims' phones and evidence related to potential third-party suspects. They also demand sanctions against the prosecution for the late disclosure of evidence, which they allege has significantly hampered their ability to mount a proper defense. Really? Marv, where are these hearings at? They are in Delphi. They are at the Delphi courthouse, Carroll County courthouse right now in Delphi. Details. The defense argues that the delayed and incomplete discovery provided by the prosecution has compromised their preparation for the trial. They specifically cite the withheld phone extraction data from third-party suspect Brad Holder, who they believe is central to the case, and the exculpatory information from the Rushville police chief's report, which was not provided for several months after its creation. Importance. The granting of this motion would potentially significantly expand the defense's access to crucial evidence and force the prosecution to provide adequate information in a timely manner. Well, we all know that information should be given in a timely manner. Look at what happened with the Alec Baldwin case. Because that was not done, that case was dismissed with prejudice, meaning they cannot retry him. So this is huge. This is very big. This one right here. So on the state's motion for admissibility for the psychologist and to suppress the second statement. In my opinion, I believe Judge Gall is going to allow both. She's going to allow the psychologist's testimony in, and she's going to allow Richard Allen's second statement in. Lala. Yes, it was delayed, but it was still given after the judge said that all evidence should be shared. So, what types of things can happen with this? Well, if the defense needs more time to look at the evidence, the trial could be pushed back further. Then you're looking at a 2025 trial. That is one of the things that the judge could do. Second thing she could do is sanction Nick McClelland for not getting them that information. And the worst case scenario is she would dismiss the case. I don't believe she's going to dismiss the case. I believe that a lot of this information was given to the defense, but it was so out of order, nobody in their right mind could go through all of it. And the way they name things, there was no way you could correlate that that is what you were looking at by the title. So, what is Gold going to do? Well, in the past, she has not sanctioned either one. And I don't think she's going to create sanctions again. The only thing that they could agree to do, and I think that Gull would go for this, is pushing back the trial so that the defense has adequate time to go through everything. Now, we got to remember that with this 3-day hearing, Gull has to be on point. She has to dot all of her I's and cross all of her T's. So when she makes a ruling, she can't just say granted or denied, in my opinion, anymore. She has to factually state why she is granting it or why she is denying it, because the Supreme Court is watching her every move. And I don't know if you guys realize this, but the defense messed up big time. They have been trying to get Gull off of this case forever. They had their chance and they blew it. The rules are that once the defense or the prosecution makes a motion, the judge has so many days to have a hearing, listen to it, and make a decision. If she doesn't, and she does this repeatedly, the defense could have motioned for her to be removed. Instead, they kept bringing up more motions, which vacated that then. And then eventually they went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court denied it. They had their chance to get rid of her. They messed up. That's on them. If they didn't waste so much time trying to get rid of the judge and writing Frank's motions, they would have had the time in the world to review the evidence. I agree. 100%. This defense team is playing games. They all do. They all do. Okay. The next motion that I don't know if they're going in this specific order, but this is the 9 that they're going to be going through. Defendant's motion to vacate safekeeping order. This is going to be another big one. Key issues. The defense requests that the court overturn the safekeeping order, which requires Richard Allen to be held in a high security unit of the Indiana Department of Corrections instead of a county jail. Details. The defense argues that the original concerns about transport and safety issues have been resolved, and the defendant poses no threat to the safety of others. The importance, if granted, the motion could lead to a transfer of Richard Allen to a less restrictive environment, potentially improving his mental and physical condition while waiting trial. I have never, ever heard of a defendant being held in a prison. Never. Until Richard Allen. Look at all the other high-profile murder cases that we see every day. Okay? None of those defendants have been held in a prison. There's got to be a way to get this man into one of the county jails, restrict his access to the other inmates, and keep him safe. That is their main priority, to keep him safe so that he can be at trial. I'm not sure what the judge is going to do. I personally think she's going to leave it as is. He's been there all this time. He's used to the routine. He can be kept safe. I think she's going to leave it as is. But if she was going to grant one of the defense's motions, this is the one she may grant. Hi, Troll Shovel. How you doing? Hi, Andrea. What do you guys think? Is he going to stay in prison, or are they going to put him in a county jail? Let me know in the chat. 1 for prison, 2 for county jail. Wherever they keep him, he needs access to his legal team and mental health services. Exactly. Mar says, I don't know. I don't care either one. Okay. Misty says, prison. You think either one, Troll Shovel? Andrea says 2. Lala says 1. Brenda says 1. Camaro Lover says 1. Misty says, I think they'll keep him where he is. 1, but man, that's tough to decide. I think it would depend on who meets the needs of Richard. I agree. But if a local jail can give him the access to his attorneys, which we all know they can, but more importantly, the mental health services that he needs, then why couldn't he be there? Oh my goodness. Next one. Let me just check for some updates here. So they might be taking lunch soon. Okay. Angel says, truthfully, he's safer in prison, but I think jail is fine. I don't know if they're on lunch right now or they're getting ready to take lunch at 12 o'clock. The state's motion of limine. Ooh, this is big. I think this is the biggest one of them all. All 9 of them. This is the big daddy of them all. This is specifically going to tell both the prosecution and the defense what they can bring up in the trial. Yes, we do have boots on the ground in court today. Several of them. Nope, we're waiting for updates from the courtroom. Okay, state's motion of limine. Key issue. This motion seeks to prevent the defense from mentioning specific evidence or arguments that the state deems irrelevant or prejudicial to the trial. What are the details on it? The motion specifically targets mentions of Odinism, cult, activities, the names of several individuals investigated as potential suspects, including Brad Holder, Patrick Westfall, and Elvis Fields, as well as evidence related to the geofencing investigation. This motion seeks to highly control the scope of evidence presented to the jury, preventing the defense from introducing arguments that could create confusion or bias. Nice seeing you, Mark. Thanks for dropping in. Let's see. In my experience, the judge usually grants a good portion of the prosecution's request in a motion of limine. Now, the judge has already warned the defense team that she knows how to put on a third-party defense. And she is not happy with what they've been doing. So, in my opinion, 99% of this is going to be granted by Judge Gull, if not all of it. This is her way of stopping the circus from happening any further. And if that happens, I absolutely see the defense asking for a continuance because they have to start all over in their defense of Richard Allen. Because they will not be able to bring up the honest, the individuals, the so-called evidence against them. The only way, all right, so if Judge Gull grants the motion of limine, okay, meaning the defense can't bring up anything listed in that motion. The only way it can be brought in is if the prosecution has a witness on the stand and that witness mentions one thing in the motion of limine, which they shouldn't, because the prosecution should have prepared their witness and what they can say and what they can't say. But we have seen slip-ups from witnesses. If the witness slips up and mentions any of those things, the defense can then talk about it. So that's key. And you're right. Let's see here. How do you know that? Who told you that? But it was posted. Okay, we'll find out once we get updates coming in. So does everybody understand the motion of limine now and how, even if the judge grants the prosecution's request and the defense is not allowed to talk about any of this, you all understand that if the prosecution puts a witness up there and they accidentally talk about something that should not have been talked about, then the door is wide open and the defense gets to question them on that. All right. So everybody, sounds like you understand that? Good. We'll go over it again once trial time comes. And once we figure out what her decision is. Defense's response to state's motion of limine. Key issues. This response challenges the state's attempt to limit the presentation of evidence particularly regarding potential third-party perpetrators. Okay. Details. The defense argues that their ability to present evidence of possible third-party involvement is essential for their case and their Sixth Amendment right to present a defense. They argue that the prosecutor's attempt to limit the evidence is an overreach that will only hinder a fair trial and judicial efficiency. Well, of course, the defense is going to say that. That's what their case is about. That is their defense, third party. But let me tell you this, there's a proper way to put on a third party defense, and there is an improper way of doing it. And in my case, in my opinion, I believe the defense has done this improperly. And that is off of experience of watching previous trials. Hi, clever old name. How you doing? Okay, importance. The outcome of the response could dramatically impact the defendant's ability to introduce evidence that supports alternative theories about the murders, directly impacting the jury's understanding of the case. Like I said, out of all the motions, this is going to be the biggest one. Then you have the defense's second motion to dismiss. Gibble, I heard a little bit about that, but I don't know if it's true or not. That's confused me, Mar. It really has, because normally by now we would know. And I don't know why the prosecution is holding that. Gibble, can you send me that? Can you email me that video so that I can see it? I'd be interested in seeing that. Okay, defendant's second motion to dismiss. Key issue. The defense argues for dismissal of the charges against Richard Allen based on the destruction and or withholding of exculpatory evidence, particularly concerning potential third-party suspects, Brad Holder and Odinism. Details. The motion argues that the various items of evidence have been intentionally lost or destroyed by law enforcement, specifically highlighting the missing Brad Holder phone extraction data, the absence of his second interview with authorities, and the missing images of a mimicked crime scene found on Holder's social media. The defense argues that this evidence is highly exculpatory and crucial to their ability to mount a robust defense. The importance. The potential dismissal of the charges based on prosecutorial misconduct is a significant legal hurdle for the prosecution to overcome. It highlights the severe consequences of losing or withholding potential critical evidence, raising concerns about fairness and the integrity of the legal process. Okay. The state's response to the defendant's second motion to dismiss. Key issues from the state. The response directly challenges the defense's claim of lost or destroyed exculpatory evidence, arguing that the claim lacks any substantive evidence and that Brad Holder is not a third-party suspect. The details. The state argues that the defense's allegations of intentional destruction and concealment are unfounded. They maintain that Brad Holder's involvement in the murders is unsubstantiated and the evidence they have already provided is sufficient. Importance. This response attempts to dismiss the defendant's allegations, arguing that the state has not engaged in a prosecutorial misconduct and that the evidence they have presented adequately proves Richard Allen's involvement in the murders. Interesting. So here's my theory on this last motion. If Judge Gall grants the state's motion of limine, this will automatically deny the state's motion to dismiss. So if I were the judge, I would start with the motion of limine because it's going to take care of a lot of these other motions. All right. Hang on here. Let's see. So I'm being told, somebody was told that Anna is not there. What does under advisement mean? For motion to relocate. So if she's taking it under advisement, under my experience of watching all these trials, she's not saying yes and she's not saying no. But at this moment, she's not making a decision on that particular motion. Oh, all right. Hang on a minute here. I got an answer. Safekeeping is now under advisement by Gull with the amendments defense is requesting. Sanctions for evidence obtained by Baldwin in Georgia. Nick Clapback saying the defense wants the state to be held accountable for evidence not in the state's possession and foot the bill of travel to get said evidence that hasn't been confirmed for being part of discovery. Also under advisement. Next up is the suppression. So basically, what does that mean? Well, she's not going to make a ruling today if it's under advisement. She's going to think about it and make a ruling at another time. Talk about a shit show. Hey, Coach Kev, how you doing? Yes, we just got 2 updates. So, the safekeeping order, which is, do they keep Richard Allen in prison or do they move him to a county jail? Judge Gull has taken that under advisement. The request from the defense to sanction the prosecution is also taken under advisement. So that means Judge Gull is not making a decision on those 2 today. So she wants advice off the other judges, then that's good. It shows the defense we all ain't playing. Maybe that is what she's doing. She has now taken the time to listen to both sides on these 2 motions. Okay, maybe what she's going to do is go back tonight and discuss it with the other judges to see what decision she should make on those 2. So maybe she's worried that since she's being watched by the Supreme Court, maybe she's worried about actually making a decision by herself. Or maybe she just needs to look into some things herself in order to make a decision. We got to wait and see. Hopefully tomorrow there will be a decision, or at least by Thursday. I mean, come on. Goodness gracious. This is the craziest thing I have ever heard. You were trying to get Coach Kev dressed. Okay. It was the motion for safekeeping. And it was the motion for sanctions. So basically, they started at 10 o'clock. They've gotten through 2 motions so far. The next is the suppression. And we know they're wanting to suppress 2 different items. The statement to the psychiatrist at the prison, and they want to suppress the whole second interrogation / statement of Richard Allen to the police. I'm just scrolling back up. Troll Shovel says she will deny it. Let's see. if the judge allows everything, is it the final say? Like, are you talking about in the motion of... Hang on a minute. Okay. All right, everybody. We got Frank Meister here. He's got just a few minutes. All right. From what we heard, she has not decided anything.
No, nothing. And what it really boils down to is the same shit that they've been arguing for 2 years.
So
it's a waste of fucking time.
Nothing else, nothing's really changed. It's all the same arguments.
Same arguments. Nothing else.
So, okay, so they did the safekeeping one and they did the motion for sanctions.
They did safekeeping, they did compel, and suppression, right? Yeah, it's the same arguments over and over and over. And now they're accusing Nick of withholding discovery.
So they think he's still holding discovery.
Yeah. They're claiming that Baldwin had to go down to Georgia, spend $12,000 to go to Georgia to get a photo that Brad Holden had on his Facebook page back in 2015.
What?
Yeah.
So they're claiming they had to go, the defense had to go down to Georgia.
Yeah.
And get a photo that Brad Holder had on his Facebook page.
Yes.
And they had to pay for it.
Yeah, $12,000, and they're wanting the court to reimburse them.
So $12,000, and they want the court to reimburse them. Well.
Yeah.
So this is basically everything we've heard. There's been nothing new that you learned out of any of those hearings?
Nope.
Oh.
And I'm like, damn, man.
I thought for sure we'd get something.
Hey, you got an echo.
All right. Well, thank you for calling in and letting me know.
Will do. As soon as the court's done with the day for today, when I get home, I will set up a thumbnail and do a live.
Oh, so court's done for today. They're not doing any more?
No. We got to go be back in 17 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And Richard Allen looks pretty good too, guys. He's got a haircut. He's more alert, more of aware of what's going on in the courtroom too. So.
Well, that's good to know.
So. No. I got to be back in 10 minutes.
All right.
All right. So as soon as we're done, I'll get back with you guys.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, wouldn't you know? Okay. So let's go over what Frank just said. Frank Meister said that there has been no new information given in anything the prosecution has said or the defense. They're arguing the old arguments. The only thing that the defense has stated is that they had to physically go down to Georgia and pay to get Brad Holder's, that picture off of Brad Holder's Facebook. And they had a total cost of $12,000, and they want the court to reimburse them. And that's the same thing that I'm being told by Jinx and others in the courtroom. They're all saying the same thing. So you have Jinx, rescue all the dogs, Frosty, Frank Meister. I'm missing a couple. I think Aspen is there also. Jinx, Frosty, Frank Meister, rescue all the dogs. And a couple others. $12,000 for a photo. Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. And you heard me, I specifically asked Frank, has there been any new information that has been given? And he said, no. So when the defense and the prosecution are going back and forth on each one of these motions, no new evidence is being given. There was a photo on why can I not think of his name now? Yeah, so there was a photo on the Facebook on his Facebook page of two women that were from Brad Holder's Facebook page that were lying on the ground as if they were deceased, that had, I guess, some similarities of what they're saying of what the crime scene actually looked like. Have I seen that picture? Yes. To me, there was some similarities, but not enough. Yeah, it was a creepy photo. The girls lay down with the tree limbs. Yeah. It does not perfectly match it. No. So now they are going back into court for this afternoon session. And they're going to go over the other motions. What motions do we have to go over? Motion to suppress. Motion of limine or limine. And the motion to dismiss. So motion to suppress. Motion of limine. And the motion to dismiss. So good God, please tell me she makes a decision on something today. Gibbo says, I have a photo of me doing a reenactment of Power Rangers as a kid. Does that make me a Power Ranger? No. I think you should have investigated more, if you ask me. Let's see. There were people who knew about it. Do they know date and time of that photo, and how would he know to make a photo like that of them laying on the ground? This was before the murders happened. BH was looked into by LE. Yes, he was. He was assisting police on the 13th. He was Logan's legal guardian. That's why they took Logan's phone and not his. McLeland explained that in one of the motions. I hope she does, but not sure she will. This case just drags on. Yes, it does. So now we're not going to get any more updates until after court is done. No, I don't think so, Andrew. I think we're good. So it's kind of frustrating hearing the fact that on the safekeeping and the motion to compel to make the prosecution hand over evidence and the motion to sanction the prosecution, that Judge Gull has not made any rulings on it. She has only taken it under advisement, which means one of two things. She needs to look up some more information regarding those motions, or she wants to talk to some of the other judges to get their advice on how she should rule on it. How did it cost $12,000 to go to Georgia? Well, they probably flew, both of them, one or both of them. And I don't know. You would have thought they would have had to have a court order to get that. But I haven't heard anything like that. So who are they going to Georgia to get it from? Facebook? I don't know. The man has an alibi. A slightly similar photo on Facebook means nothing. Exactly. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe to get all notifications. All your love and support is appreciated. Fraud report. All I want is for Judge Gull to make one decision today. One. Denied or granted. I don't think we're going to get that, though. That is very frustrating. We've waited all this time for her to make decisions, and she's taking them under advisement. So my question is, how long do we have to, is she taking them under advisement? When will she have a ruling on those two motions? Are we going to get them by Thursday when the hearings are supposed to be all over? We'll see. Oh, frustrating. And like I said, absolutely no new information has come out in these first two hearings. And that is also disappointing because we thought for sure we were going to get something today. Maybe we will on the other ones. I don't think so. Hello, Yvonne. Hello, Charlotte. Welcome. That's what I don't know, Mar. How long does she have to consider? I don't know if it's 30 days from the date of the hearing. But she's cutting, in my opinion, it'd have to be sooner than that, especially with the motion of limine, because the defense needs to know what they're allowed to bring up in court and in trial and what they're not allowed to bring up. So these hearings are supposed to take place today, tomorrow, and Thursday. Court is supposed to start at 10 a.m. each day. Andrew says the hearings today are just to suffice the defense. That way they can't go to the Supreme Court. Just my opinion. I think by going to the Supreme Court again to get Judge Gull removed, they know that they're not going to do anything because they denied the motion. Frank doesn't drive. He gets rides. Yeah, no, Judge Gull's not going to be removed. And I think all of the defense's motions are going to be denied, except for maybe the safekeeping and moving him to the county jail. I think that is the best one that the defense has a shot at getting granted. Otherwise, I think that all of the defense's motions are going to get denied, and the prosecution's motion of limine, she is going to grant 99% of it, if not all of it. Yeah, you're right, Yvonne. October is coming fast. So she's got to make it. She's got to make a decision on these, especially especially the motion of limine. That one, she has to make a decision within the next 3 days on that one. And if she comes back and she grants the prosecution's request for motion of limine, that in return is going to deny all of the state's other motions except for the sanctions and the safekeeping. If you ring Rick's phone, bet his voicemail is, "Guys, I'm down the hill. Call me back." Oh my goodness, Gibble. What do you mean, Lynn? A no on Libby's cell phone, I believe. Do you mean that no, they're not going to allow her cell phone information in. Because I have not received any information that was talked about yet. Oh, yeah, we know they don't want it. The defense doesn't want it in court? So in here it says, the Richard Allen Delphi murders continue to be a battleground of technical evidence. With yesterday's defense filing, defense replied to state's response to defense's fourth motion for Frank's hearing, throwing a curveball into the ongoing fight over the search warrant used on Allen's property, ultimately leading to him becoming defendant Allen. The back and forth really is of Frank's showdown. The latest wrinkle, cell phone data from one of the victims, Liberty German. Why the phone pings matter. The prosecution story, they believe the girls were dropped off near the trailhead on the 13th of February, never left the area, and were murdered soon after being ordered down the hill by their abductor. The defense's argument. They entered a response to the state's rebuttal of their previous Frank's motion. This latest filing centers on phone pings generated between the 13th and 14th of February. The defense claims these pings show activity outside the original area where the bodies were found, contradicting the prosecution's timeline. The defense focuses on the gap. The crux of the defense's argument hinges on the gap in the pings after 5:44 p.m. on February 13th. They suggest phone activity outside the original area occurred sometime between then and the 14th of February. They reference Sergeant Blocker's interpretation of the pings in their motion, suggesting the phone was likely not in the area or not working at that time. Their implication that the phone was taken elsewhere, then brought back, a scenario at odds with the prosecution's narrative. So, yeah, I think you're right, Yvonne. I think they're scared. This is going to be a battle of the testimony of the experts for the prosecution and the defense. So, all right. I am going to log off, and I have to take my son to an appointment. And by time I get back, court should be over. And then we'll be coming live again or joining another creator to get the information as to what happened in this afternoon's session of the hearing. If I get updates before I get back, I will put them on the community page and in the Beyond the Evidence Facebook group, just so you know. Cell phone data dump, like the video and pictures, should be in court. I agree. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Glad we got a little bit of information even though it wasn't information at all. Hopefully this afternoon will be better and we'll get some decisions and some tidbits of facts that we haven't heard before. That's our hope for today. But sending all my love to you guys. Thank you for your support on my health, on the channel. I'll be back later this afternoon after court's out. Talk to you later. Bye.